do you tell someone, especially if he's your father, about an idea that you have that's going to change his life, your father's life, and all the people who is living in that village with your father? That's a task. It's a task by itself for a man to tell his father anything. And what happens if you have to tell your father something that you are asking him to change his lifestyle totally? What I'm going to tell you today is how you do that, but in a story. Everybody likes a story. And that story, I could tell you it didn't happen to me, because that's probably what you thought, that I'm going to tell you a story about how I told my father. Not really. It's a story about Prophet Abraham. We all know who's Prophet Abraham. I'm going to assume you know. If you flip any of the Old Testament, New Testament, this Quran, all those religious books, the story of Abraham is in that books, the religious books. So Abraham was selected by God. Here's the story. Abraham was selected by God to be a prophet. And he revealed to him, God revealed to Abraham that what your father and his tribe doing is wrong. Because what they used to do at that time, Abraham's father used to make statues from wood. He was a carpenter, make the statues from wood and just stand them up and worship them. So Abraham, being inspired by God, didn't make sense to him at all. You want me to worship a statue that you made by yourself? So his task was to come to his father, because he has to start with his father, the statue maker, the idol maker, to tell him first, you should stop making statues, because this is his livelihood. There's no more income for his father. That's one. Secondly, he has to tell him that what you're doing religiously is wrong. This statue doesn't help you at all, and so on. And then he has to tell him that I have a better message for you, and you and all of the village, whatever the number in that, this happened maybe 3,000 years ago, whatever the date is when the Prophet Abraham was alive. So how did he do it? And I was reading that, and I said, wow, that's very good. The way he did it is this. You have to go to the component of all the people who are involved in the story. So who are the people, or I'm going to borrow from my country, the stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders who are involved in this story? Well, the stakeholders are, can you give me one?
Idol makers.
Idol makers. That's the stakeholder. Another stakeholder, anybody else? I mean, it's the idol maker, that happened to be his father.
The people who he would lead eventually.
The people who are leading, which is the villager, his father. God is also a stakeholder. The devil, because that's a devil worship. You know, the devil is telling his people, Abraham and his people, Abraham's father and his people, go ahead and worship that. So all those are the stakeholders. So the way he conveyed the message to his father, he made sure that he says something about each one of those. And that's how he starts. First, he tells his father that, Father, whatever you are creating by your own hand, creating some ridiculous statues, they cannot benefit you. Why? Because those statues, they don't listen, they don't hear, and they don't see. So how can you worship something that he doesn't see and he doesn't listen? I mean, it's just a waste of time. So that he took care of that first stakeholder, is attacking the statue itself. Well, if he stops there, then his father will say, well, okay, fine, I agree with you. This statue doesn't help me, but that's all what I know. I mean, they were good people, but that's all what they knew. Nothing. Then you have to give him an alternative. That's one component of convincing, having an intelligent conversation. And then what is the alternative that Abraham has? Or he's telling his father that, oh, the alternative I have is God gave me a message. It's a better message for him. It's a God of the universe. So he's glorifying God in that sort. down with the, to borrow our modern term, down with the statues, yes to God. That's the second step. Then he goes back and says, look, Father, if you don't do that, you are following the devil. And the devil will lead you astray. God will be upset with you. You will be punished. So he's going he's telling his father that you will benefit from not continually worshipping the devil. Now, did his father agree? Did his father agree to that? No. But that lead me to another point to mention that you cannot control the outcome. You convey the message to the stakeholder, you mention all the stakeholders, you convey the message to your boss or to your father or whatever, but you cannot control the outcomes. Why? Because this is a very heavy load that Abraham is putting on his father's shoulder. He's telling him to leave your profession, you have no income, you throw away all what your grandfathers did, and right now just come with me. And who come with his young son? It just didn't make any sense. Now, the father, according to the story, was not convinced at all. He told him, if you don't quit, I'm going to stone you, throw a stone on you, and then just, chase you out. Now, what's his response? That's another message from his wise, intelligent conversation. But he didn't try to go back and say, no, peace be with you, father. He knew that that's not the time. His father is not going to demolish his economic sources and throw away all of the previous, what his father and grandfather was doing. He said, peace be with you, here's my solution. I'm going to leave the city, leave the village, and go away for a while until hopefully God will convince you. So he did. I think the story that after that, of course, the people followed him and he became a great prophet. It is important to have intelligent conversation, to convey the message, even though you cannot control the outcome.